We've all heard that you cannot change the past, and that's true, right? We're not able to go back and change events. We're not able to go back and change an experience. But what is often untalked about is the part of the past that we can change. And as it turns out, it's the only thing that actually matters. Let's grow. You can't change the past. You can't change the past. You can't undo experience. You can't undo what's already happened. We've heard that at length, and it makes sense, right? Even when I'm playing golf, sometimes there are times when I want to start over because I got off to such a bad start that I want to start over. But I remind myself that even if I go back and start back at hole number one, it doesn't undo what actually happened those first few holes. So granted, we cannot undo, we cannot change experiences that have already occurred. But let's get serious for just a moment and talk about how or what we can change that actually makes all of the difference. If we are playing the game of our life is a manifestation of, or we what shows up in our life is evidence or validation for our strongest, most ingrained beliefs. Like everything is created twice, right? So just on my desk here, I have this, like workout band, stand to do some more work with. I have this little oil that's for anti-shine, so when I'm online, a lot of times I'll use this. My cell phone's here. If you haven't had this liquid death mountain water, that's good stuff. Anyway, it's not a commercial. I'm just going to say, like, all of these things, like this band didn't just show up, right? This cell phone didn't just appear. Someone has the idea for it, and then there is the manifestation of it. That makes sense. Now, we can understand that for material objects, and I want you to extend it, just playing this game for a moment. If we extend it into our life and our results, that everything is created twice, that things don't just happen, right? These laws are too exact. These laws are too precise for things to just happen. And when a person can't explain a thing, then they'll use words like luck or random, but these laws are too precise. Right, they're exact. And what we're experiencing is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, or the law of cause and effect. Now, so obviously someone had the idea for this cell phone before there's the cell phone. They had the idea for liquid death, mountain water, before there was the actual manifestation of the design and logo and all of those things. We can understand that for material objects. I want you to extend it for just a moment to your life and the results that are in your life, the relationships and the relationships that are in your life, or the absence of relationships in your life. That it's not just happening, but there's actually a thought or a belief that then leads to the manifestation or the validation of the belief, and therefore you will experience the relationship, you will experience the result as evidence to reinforce what you believe. So then how does this relate to being able to change the past? What were we getting at? Well, those beliefs are a product of what we have interpreted, or the meaning that we have assigned past events and experiences. That's where we get our beliefs from. Our beliefs don't just appear. Our beliefs don't just arise in us. We have our beliefs as a result of our interpretation, and sometimes an inaccurate interpretation of what an event or an experience means about us. So life happens and life experiences happen, and from our life experiences, we start to believe. That's how we develop our belief structure. It's through experience, it's through evidence and our interpretation of what has happened. Confidence is built through successfully progressing through a particular task or activity. Therefore, you get the confidence to do it. And there are also events and experiences that have such an emotional connection and emotional impact that we assign, based on our interpretation of what that means, we assign a meaning to it. We develop a belief. And so what happens is once that belief is in place, then we go out into our lives and we are so powerful. You are so powerful. You are so remarkable. You are so extraordinary that you will attract into your life whatever is necessary to validate your belief. Think about that for just a moment. That when that event happened, it had no meaning. And then you assigned meaning to it. I assigned meaning to mine. And because of the meaning that we assign, then beliefs develop. And those beliefs are now what we are validating in our life and through our life experience. It's the answer to self-sabotage. It's the answer to imposter syndrome. It's the answer to indecisiveness. It's the answer to the experience or the interpretation of failure is ultimately our beliefs are being validated. Our beliefs about ourselves, our beliefs about other people, our beliefs about life, our beliefs about the world. We will attract into our lives what's necessary to validate our belief. And so, in essence, every human, every person in your life experience actually validates a belief that is there. So when it comes to, okay, we can't change the past. No, we're not able to go back and undo the experience. I'm not able to go back and undo my parents divorcing. I'm not able to go back and undo, fumbling the football in a Pee Wee League game against the Broken Bow Savages when I've broken free. And in my mind, I still have me running with the ball. I can actually see, our fans cheering for me. And then just like out of nowhere, the ball just slips through my arm. And right, I can't go back and undo that. I can't go back and undo the breakups. I can't go back and undo the failed relationships. I cannot undo the past, and neither can you. But that's not where the story ends. Because what I can do and what you can do is we go back to those events that we still have this emotional charge to, and we can undo, we can replace the meaning or the story, the interpretation that we have for that event. My life truly began to transform when I accepted that, no, dude, get over it. I cannot go back and undo, my dad leaving when I was 4 years old. But it's interesting that what was continuing to affect me was not that event as much as it was what I started to believe about Courtland as a result of that event. And so, though I'm not able to go back to 4 years old and keep that from happening, I am able to go back and insert a new meaning. I can give that event, I can give that experience a new story. And so, instead of it meaning that I'm not worthy, or instead of it meaning that I'm not lovable, I can replace those beliefs. I can replace those beliefs with beliefs that are more affirming or more effective for what I desire to create today. I'm not able to go back to that Pee Wee League football game when I'm 9 or 10 years old in the Broken Bow, stadium. I'm not able to go back to running that football and that particular game. I'm not able to rewind that and, make sure that I got the ball tucked in tight and I'm holding it tight, right? I'm not able to go back and do that, but I can go back and say that that particular experience does not mean that, I don't like, to win, or that something will always happen, or every time I get excited, it's going to be met with some like traumatic failure. I can go back and replace that belief. And as it turns out, that does make all of the difference. Because as we explored earlier, before there is the thing, there is the belief that's producing that validation. Before there is this stretch band, before there is the stretch band, there is the idea of the stretch band. And before there is a broken relationship or failed business or failed perception of failed, relationship, personal or professional, there is the underlying belief that is driving the actions that lead to self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, and indecisiveness. And so the work is then to replace the belief. That's where the magic is. The magic is in doing the work to truly transform the belief. Oftentimes people will say, well, I'm going to transform myself, and I'm convinced that they're not exactly aware of what that means and what you're actually transforming. It's not that you're going to essentially, change your name and all. No, that doesn't produce transformation. What produces transformation is a transformation of the belief or the story assigned to events and experiences that today keep you from experiencing just how remarkable you are. Until there is work done to reinterpret the events and experiences that shape your belief, then there is no transformation that has occurred. Inevitably, a button will get pushed. Something will happen that will remind you of or have you revisit the belief that was never transformed. Even though you can experience some momentum for a while, until that work is done of transforming the belief, giving new meaning to an event or an experience. Until that's done, real transformation has not taken place. But the great news is when it is done, you are new. And what you attract into your life is different. Who you attract into your life is different. How you see the world is different. The experiences that you attract are now different, not because they were never available, but because your beliefs have been transformed, and as your beliefs transform, then you become new. So how do you transform a belief? You transform beliefs through an emotional connection to an event or experience. There are very few of those, frankly, there are very few of those that are available. There are very few that actually do the work, and most personal development seminars, frankly, they don't. Most personal development, most coaching, they don't do that. Even frankly, therapy does not do that. It enables you to tell the story. It maybe remind you of the story. It can remind you of the event, remind you of the experience. But the real work of reframing the story, the real work of in reinterpretation of that event is it's rare. It's rare. And I'm not the only, but I am one of the people in the world who for 20 years has done that. And it is work that is not, it's work that's done that's not to be taken lightly, but it's work that I view as necessary on the planet. Because a number of people who are remarkable, who are settling for a whole lot less than what they're capable of, and it's not their fault as much as it's about not understanding that you can actually change a part of the past that is the most important. I hope that helps, and if it does, don't keep it a secret. Let someone know that this podcast does exist. And in addition to that, I would really love for you to join my email list, courtlandwarren.com/opt-in. We'll put you on the email list, and I will reach out and communicate with you when I believe that I have information that is of value. In addition to that, we are also through your having your email, I'm not dependent on the platforms to make sure that you see when a new podcast has been released or announcement of a class or offering and so forth. So join the email list really does help me, assist me in serving you better. Okay. And also, if you haven't already, then subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, whenever a new episode is released, you have it. In conclusion for today, though, in conclusion, understand this. Yes, it is true that you're not able to change the past, meaning the events and the experiences, but you can. And in fact, I encourage you to change the meaning that you've assigned to events, particularly those that have resulted in beliefs that don't support how remarkable you truly are. Thanks a lot. We'll see you. We'll see you next time.